Hello everyone, welcome back to my class. So in the last class we were discussed about the memories in your computer system. So which are the three hierarchical form that you will be following in your memory of your computer system. So your computer memory is being categorized into two ways, that is your primary memory as well as your secondary memory. Again primary memory is being categorized into your RAM as well as the ROM, whereas RAM is your random access memory, ROM is your read only memory, where ROM is an permanent, the things which you have be written into your ROM cannot be erased, whereas your RAM, the contents can be erased and you can add up with the new data. And also RAM has been divided into two main categories, that is your static RAM as well as your dynamic RAM, and also your ROM has been classified into three ways, that is PROM, EPROM and EEPROM. We all discussed all these things in your last class, so you can refer the last video also. So as I already told that the RAM is being divided into two ways or two categories. The very first variation of the RAM is your static RAM. So what do you mean by static RAM? How the operation is being done in your static RAM and how you can store the memory or whatever the information that you wanted to store into your static memory cell. These are all the things that we will be discussing in today's class. Fine. So let us look how the operation of static RAM gets be done. So in your static memory cell, so first of all we shall know about what do you mean by an static memory cell. So static memory cell means a memory will be consisting of circuit which is capable of storing the contents or retaining its states as well as long as the power is applied to it. So whatever the contents you will be storing in your static RAM cell, it will be retaining in its state itself until the power is applied to it. So a simple block diagram of your static memory cell is being displayed here. So your static memory cell will be consisting of two inverters that will be forming an latch. So the latch will be connected to the bit lines of your processor. So the bit lines is being connected using the two transistors called as T1 and T2 transistor. So again the word line is being connected to the bit line. So the latch remains its states or the latch retains its states when the word line is at ground level. When the word line is at a ground level, the latch will be retaining its states and until the transistor is turned off. When the word line is at ground level, the transistor T1 and T2 will be turned off and the latch will be retaining its state. So this is how you will be retaining the state of the memory cell in your static RAM. So whatever how the word line power is being applied, based on that the state of the RAM cell will get retained. Fine. So how you will be performing the read operation or write operation to this state of the cell or to this particular static RAM cell. So considering for your read operation, so how you will be reading the contents of your static RAM cell. So whenever you want to read the contents from your static RAM cell, the state will be at 1, and when the word line gets activated and both the bit lines will also get based on the when the word line gets activated, the transistor T1 and T2 gets turned on and the state whatever the contents which is been present in the latch, the bits line get high B and B dash will get low based on the set of the contents which is being needed to send it out. So the contents which is being present in the latch or that the contents which is being present in the particular RAM cell will be drained down to the bit cells of your processor. Fine. So that will be coming on to, so the B will becomes high and B dash becomes low and the contents will be drawn back to the bit lines of the processor. So again when you need to perform with the write operation, So when you need to perform the write operation, the state of the cell is set by sending the word lines, bit lines of your B and B dash. The appropriate value which you wanted to write onto the cell will be set onto the lines B and B dash. Based on that, the word lines get activated and the transistors will get closed out, and whatever the contents you need to set to the output appropriately. So what the contents you will be need to set to the particular static RAM cell, that will be placed onto the B and B dash. So again it will be get complemented to the B dash line, and that contents will be drawn to your particular static memory cell. Fine. So these operation, whatever you are being used, the purpose or the functionality of these two inverters, that can be also gets converted, or you can also represent the same operation of the cell which was carried out by two inverters. You can carry out the same operation using your CMOS cell. So how you were performing the read operation or write operation in your static RAM cell, that is when the word line gets activated, your B and B dash will also set it up, and whatever the contents, if the state is at 1, the contents will be read out. The B dash becomes high, B becomes high and B dash becomes low, and its complement vice versa, and when the state is at 1, the contents will be read out. Next again, if you want to perform the write operation towards like whatever the values you want to send to the contents of the RAM cell, that will be placed on the bit lines, that is your B as well as your B dash, and correspondingly the word line will be set it out, and based on the sense or write circuit will be specifying or will be detecting the corresponding operation, that is your read or write operation, and that will be write it to your particular RAM cell. Fine. The same operation can be performed by using your CMOS cell. So these two inverters, what the functionality or what the role it was been playing, that will be done by using 4 resistors T3, T4, T5 and T6. So will be performing the same operation how the earlier static RAM cell was been operating. If the CMOS cell the transistors T3, T4 and T5, T6 will be forming the latch and it will be performing the inverters how it will be used in your RAM cell. Next in here, if it is in a state 1, the point X will get activated or point X will be get on, and T5 and T6 will be on. So when T5 and T6 will be on, when it state 1, again the transistor T1 and T2 will be closed, and the whatever the contents you want to read up with the cell, it will be read and it will be sent to the bit lines B and B dash, and corresponding sense or write circuit will be amplified and it will be sent towards corresponding bit lines when the word line gets activated. So this is again in your write operation also, as I already explained in your static RAM cell. Again the value which you need to send to your particular RAM cell, that will be placed on B and B dash. You will be making it as high and low, and corresponding word line will be gets activated. So when the word line gets activated, the sense or write circuit will be setting the corresponding operation, and the contents, the transistor T1 and T2 will be closed and the contents will be written into your particular RAM cell. Fine. Understood? This is how you will be performing the read or write operation to your particular static RAM cell. So you have been seen here the static RAM cell, there are particular advantages as well as also disadvantages. So it is only uses with a lower power consumption, as only the power is being used only when the cell is activated, and also it is less expensive. But the main disadvantage that you will be rising with your static RAM cell is, whenever the power is being interrupted, the data which will be present in your static RAM cell, it will be get lost. So this will be one of the major disadvantage that you will be facing in your static RAM cell. So that you will be shifted out, or you can also use up with your next variation of RAM cell, which is called as dynamic RAM cell, that is dynamic random access memory. So let's look upon how that dynamic random access memory will works on. Fine. Yes, moving on to the next variation of your RAM cell, that is your dynamic RAM cell. What do you mean by a dynamic RAM cell? That is, it is a less expensive cell, and if the simple cells are you implemented, you can use up with dynamic RAM cell, whereas the contents will be changed indefinitely. So there does not retain its states as well as in your static RAM cells as long as the power is being applied, whereas here it will be changing the contents indefinitely, hence the name is being called it as your dynamic RAM. So again, in your dynamic RAM you have two variations, that is your asynchronous DRAM and synchronous DRAM. First we shall look up with the asynchronous DRAMs. So what do you mean by asynchronous? Asynchronous and synchronous will be maintained with it will be synchronized during the clock cycles. You remember that the difference between asynchronous and synchronous. Whereas coming on to your DRAM, the information will be stored in your DRAM cell in the form of a charge in the capacitor, whereas in your static RAM cells it will be retaining its states until the power was being supplied to your computer system, whereas in your dynamic RAM cells the information will be stored in the RAM cells as a charge on the capacitor. So whenever the bit line or word line is being activated, the transistor will be closed, and the power will be get supplied to charge the capacitor until the threshold value. So therein you can read the contents from the dynamic RAM cell until if the capacitor charge is up to the threshold value. If it is below the threshold value, you cannot read the content. So as also to perform your write operation also, the information or whatever you need to store, the capacitor should have the full charge. So you need to refresh the contents of the RAM cells frequently. So you need to supply the power supply, and when the word line gets activated, that is whatever the addresses which is being sent and bit lines through the bit line, when the word line get activated, the transistor is being turned off and the power will be supplied to charge up the capacitor to perform the read operation. So when the capacitor is at full, you will be setting some threshold value, then at that when the threshold value is being reached, you can read the contents from the state to the corresponding bit lines. Next, if you want to perform the write operation also, if the capacitor value is lesser than the threshold value, means you cannot write. Again you need to charge up the capacitor and you need to perform your corresponding write operation. That is why it is been called it as, it will be changing its contents indefinitely. There is no definite time intervals how you will be taking follows. If the capacitor charges gets over, or if it is fallen below the threshold value, means again you cannot perform the operation which you are insisted to do, or it might get interrupted, or it might not complete the complete operation. So this was one of the disadvantages of your dynamic RAM cells, where you cannot maintain, but the advantage is your it is less expensive. So that is when you are implementing with simple cells, means you can switch on with your dynamic RAM cells. Fine. Next, there is a simple organization how the DRAM cell is being organized. So a 4-bit cells that is being divided, it is being grouped into 512 groups of 8 bits. So if you want to store, the 21-bit addresses are used to represent the column and row addresses. So A 20 to 9 is being used to specify the row addresses that will be sent to the row address latch, and A 0 to 8, that is 9-bit address is being used to specify the column of an selected row. So 12-bit address is used to specify the complete row, whereas the 9-bit is being used to specify the column of an selected row. And also two control signals you will be using in this organization, that is your CAS and RAS. What do you mean by CAS and RAS? See, RAS is nothing but an row address strobe and CAS is nothing but an column address strobe. So these are the two control signals. Whenever the address is being sent to the particular latches, that is your row latch and your column latch, then it will be the RAS and CAS will be initiated, and so that will be sent to the decoder. So that particular addressed cell will get decoded and corresponding sense or write circuit will be get operated or get sensed, whether to perform the read operation or write operation. And in that particular cell which is being sent the address through row decoder and column decoder to that particular cell, whichever the operation is being specified, that is the row decoder address and column decoder address, in that particular cell the following read or write operation will be performed. After performing the operation, that will be connected to the data lines. If you are performing with read or write operation, that will be sent back to your data lines, that is D0 to D7. Fine, understood. So as soon as you send the row address that is being specified with A20 to A9, next that will be sent to row address latch. Then the control signal RAS is sent and it will be, that row address will be decoded and it will be finding the selected row. Next, after finding the selected row, next it will be sending the column address through A0 to A9. 9-bit is being used for 12-bit is used to send the row address and 9-bit is being used to send the column address. So 9-bit address is being sent in your column address latch. As soon as that address has been sent, the CAS control signal will be reached and it will be sent to decode that particular column of the selected row which is been already sent. So that particular column is get selected and sense or write circuit will be accessing the corresponding operation, whether it need to perform with read or write operation, and that will be done in a particular cell and that will be get implemented to your data lines, that is through your D0 to D7. Fine, this is how the operations that will be carried out in your DRAM cell. Fine. So now let us look with the asynchronous DRAM operation. So the difference between your synchronous and asynchronous DRAM operation is, in your asynchronous there will be no synchronization, whereas in your synchronous DRAM cells you will be synchronizing with the clock cycle. So you will be having a clock. So how the operation or what is the time interval, the latency and bandwidth will be calculated by using the clock and it will be synchronized with the clock cycles. So that is why the name will be called it as your synchronous DRAM. So now let us look how that operation will get performed. Fine. Yes, coming on to the organization of your asynchronous DRAM, synchronous DRAM. So as I already told, that is your synchronous DRAM why the name synchronous DRAM is being given is it, that is all the operations that you will be carrying out in your RAM cell, that will be synchronized by using the clock signals. So that clock signal, mode register and timing control, all that the clock signal, RAS, CAS, read, write and chip select, all these operations or all these control signals, whatever you are sending to your internal organization of your RAM cell, that will be synchronized using the clock cells. So that is why you will be having a refreshed counter, and whatever the informations that you are reading or writing will be used within your register called as data input register and data output register. So here you will be using up with the buffer registers, where in your asynchronous DRAMs you were not using with these buffer registers, but in your synchronous RAM you will be using up with buffer registers to increase the access time of your RAM cells. Fine. So as soon as whenever you want to read the data, again that will be maintained and refreshed counter. So you will be refreshing the contents, and the corresponding address of the row will be sent to your row address latch, and again the RAS will be sent to it. Why RAS is sent to it? Because read address strobe. So sorry, row address strobe, that is even which address is being sent to the latch, that will be sent to your row decoder. So that address will be decoded and sent to the particular cell array. It might be an any size, where how you will be organized. After sending the row address, again coming to your column address, as how you were performing in your asynchronous DRAMs. Again the same thing will be performed in your synchronous also, but the one thing is all that will be counted within the clock cycles. Again column address latch will be sent to it, and you will be sending the CAS, that is column address strobe, and that column address will be decoded of the selected particular row. And after that read write circuit and latches, that corresponding cell is being selected and performing the operation, that will be sent to your data input buffer registers, that is your data input register and your data output register, and the corresponding data will be sent to the data output pins. Fine. This is how you will be carrying out the operations with the help of your clock cycles. So you will be having the two definitions in your clock cycles, that is your latency and bandwidth. So when you are making the operations or transferring of data within the clock limit, means, or you are using the clock in your data transfer, means you need to have some measurement, or you need to have some time intervals. So you will be calling that the time taken to transfer an word from or to the memory, to or from the memory, you will be calling it as latency. And the bandwidth is number of bits that can be transferred or that can be performed the operation in 1 second, will be called it as bandwidth. Fine. So based on these two measurements, you will be calculating how the accessing time is fast or slow. So if the latency is, that is now how in latency is the time taken to read a word from or to the memory, that will be known, and also bandwidth in 1 second how many bits of the how many bits or how many cells can be make the operation, that is to or from the processor, you can also calculate, and you can find it out the access time, whether it is in a faster progress or whether it is in a slower one, and you can make the modifications based on the calculation that you had been found it out. So this is what more about your synchronous DRAM. Fine. So this is how the static memories, that is your static memory SRAM and dynamic memory DRAM. DRAM again you having two variation, that is asynchronous and well as your synchronous RAMs. Whereas in your static RAMs you were using up with the transistors and also inverters to read or write operation, whereas in your dynamic RAMs you will be storing the information as the charges in the capacitors. Fine, understood. That is what the difference between your static and your dynamic RAM. Both the RAMs are volatile RAMs itself, but compared to the volatility, static RAM can retain its states until the power is applied, whereas in your dynamic RAM it will be indefinitely keep on changing and when the capacitor starts discharges. Fine, this is how the operations of your RAM memories. Understood? So, we shall continue up in the next class. Thank you all.